What's up, Mirantikas? We're back with another Persona video. So I got this article on my phone, Persona 10 best villains in the entire series ranked. I was skimming through it. I didn't read it, just the list. I saw one person and I was like, okay, this is video worthy. By the way, Izanami's face is jump scaring. But spoilers for Persona 1, 2, 3, 5, probably even spin-offs, I don't know. So I'll just show you why I made this video, and then we're just gonna go from start. So at 10 is Kamoshida. Sure, at 9 is Tatsuya. I think he's pretty down below. He should be up. And then there's... So... if you're new here, consider subscribing. But this, to me, is the worst Persona character ever created. But let's start. Alright. So, the JRPG genre is one of the most expensive in gaming history and is full of animes. Yeah. However, we get it. Persona is amazing. High school students, that is incorrect because eternal punishment exists, but yeah, that is wrong. I guess only one. I mean, it's not even students, it's student. Tatsuya is a student in eternal punishment, but not the others. Wrong. All right, let's consider spoilers for entries throughout the Persona series. All right. Suguru Kamoshida is incredibly disturbing, a horrible individual with twisted desires. All right. Let's talk about Kamoshida. I think Kamoshida is easily the best first villain in Persona. If you count every Persona game, he's easily the best first villain. But my major issue is with Persona 5 is that I like Kamoshida so much that the three villains after that don't have that much impact for me. Like Kamoshida is this, and then all the ones like Kamoshida sets a benchmark that isn't even caught up to until I guess Sai or what's his name, Shido, because you get Kamoshida, who's amazing. You then get Madarame, who's he's good, but then Kamoshida is the benchmark. You get Kaneshiro, which I think he sucks. He's terrible. You get Okumura. I think people hate him too much, but he still isn't he's okay. He's decent, but he's not Kamoshida level. And in the after Kaneshiro and before Okumura, you have Futaba, who she isn't a villain. Though that dungeon, if you want to say dungeon wise, I think that dungeon reaches a benchmark even higher than Kamoshida. But then you have Sai, who I think is a really good way to a really good villain in my opinion. She reaches that benchmark or close to it or higher. And then you have Shido, he's really good, and then you know what? So this is my major thing with Persona 5 is they made him really good, but then the afterwards it's they're good but not as good as him. Unfortunately, Kamoshida is by far the most realistic antagonist that a fan of these face throughout Persona 5. I guess, yeah. And he is also the most disturbing villain throughout the game. I mean, it's funny. You look at him and you're like, yeah, we get it why the game is 18 plus. When players first meet the eccentric high school physical education teacher, I would say student, they just think he is high-strung and abusive to the student that he coaches. However, as the first arc of the game unfolds, players find out that his true desires are far more sinister than they first appear. Yeah, that is true. This. Okay, they don't show, but this is creepy with cognitive on and cognitive Shio. They don't show Shio here, but in this picture you can't see, but this is creepy as hell, especially since you got to think of it in this way, is that he knew she tried to commit suicide. He was like, yeah, what, there she won't be able to speak, and she'll probably die and stuff like that, or probably, you can't say that word, I believe, but yeah, who abuses his volleyball players to appear more masculine as he wants to be with one of his students. On Takamaki, the way the game portrays his relation to the palace is incredibly unsettling, and Kamoshida's incredibly uncaring attitude makes him one of the most iconic villains in Persona 5. Yeah, he is really good, in my opinion. If they ever do a villain like that, I feel like they should do it late in the game, and the villain should have even more power. I feel to make him actually truly horrifying. Tatsuya Sudo is a delusional man on a witch hunt. Now, okay. We'll talk about this. Okay, so this is from Eternal Punishment. I was about to say, are they gonna just separate Eternal Punishment and Innocent Sin? But no, this is from Eternal Punishment. A villain with a penchant for insanity. Not every villain needs to be redeemable or have understandable motives to be enjoyable, and many modern game developers seem to have forgotten this concept. However, the early Persona titles had some amazing villains. Wait, what? Huh? Not every villain needs to be redeemable or have unredeemable motives to be enjoyable, and many modern game developers seem to. Oh, many modern game developers. I thought this game this article was talking about modern Persona, and I was like, we just got Kamoshida. He was never redeemable. What the hell? We just got Kamoshida. I mean, we also have Shido here, right? Not redeemable. Like, yeah, even Kaneshiro, like they give some sort of redeeming qualities to Kaneshiro and Madarame. Kaneshiro, like I was loser and stuff like that, though that's not redeemable. And like with Madarame with Yusuke's confidant, but no, that doesn't make sense. Okay. However, the early Persona titles had some amazing villains who were evil for the sake of being evil. I mean, is there? I guess every Persona has that. I guess you can make the argument 3 doesn't, but like. 1 has that. 1 also technically doesn't for the sake of being evil, but it does with Kandori. And then you have 3, I guess, yeah, because of the whole experiments thing with Strega. And then Nyx is like, he's like, Nyx, she gotta do what she gotta do. And then in 4, you have like villains that are evil for the sake of evil, like Adachi. And then in 5, you have a lot of them. And this made them easy to hate while also being enjoyable characters to watch during every minute they were on screen. One such villain is Tatsuya Sudo, a man who constantly claims that the voices in his head make him see things, which was kind of true. Which is true. While Tatsuya is not the main villain of Persona 2, he's still one of the franchise's most enjoyable antagonists to watch because of his insane personality and motives. Furthermore, his witch hunt against Maya makes him a lively antagonist, even if his actions are being controlled by the game's main villains. Yeah, that's what he was, yeah. I can't pronounce his name, but let's try. Nyarlathotep. Overall, the modern gaming history is missing out on truly evil villains, and Tatsuya Sudo fits the bill amazingly well. I don't agree with a lot of this. He's a good villain. Like, I respect him. I like the whole dynamic between him and Tatsuya, and then we got Kandori. Like, everyone just under the main villain's control. That was good. But like, I will say this. I saw him. I was like, he's really good. And then Kandori is like, oh, damn. Kandori was the one. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Modern gaming has seemed to forget the art of giving the main villain entertaining right-hand man as a prominent side antagonist. Okay. These characters are occasionally even more interesting than their main antagonist counterparts. No, they are not. I mean, they are, but Jin isn't. However, even when this is not the case, they can be a source of meaningful tension and a thorn in the side of the hero. I can't. Is this bait? And that is precisely what Jin Shirato is throughout Persona 3. Jin Shirato is arguably the most level-headed. Okay, yeah, this is true. Villain in Persona 3 because of his fierce loyalty to game's main antagonist. Okay, this is the only thing I've talked about, is that Jin. Only one quality Jin has, and it's this. Takaya Sakaki. This character trait allows him to keep his composure and his intellect make him a prominent threat throughout the game. Overall, Jin Shirato is an amazing right-hand man, and his visual design and flair for the dramatic make him one of the franchise's best. No, it doesn't. Okay, let's talk about Jin. My major concern with Jin. I think okay, they removed this from the P3 movie, but the P3 game has this. He is the voice of reason in Strega, With like Takaya having his, I don't know, ideologies of cars killing more people, so like the dark hour isn't that bad. And with like Shidori having her mental problems, Jin is like the only like voice of reason among them. So that is like a good quality he has. And they used that quality once. That's it. Or maybe twice. But like it was like when like Shidori dies and Junpei has a second awakening and Jin gets cooked by a fire attack, even though he is strong against that. He's like, yeah, Takaya, we gotta leave. This is too much. We're like, no, we gotta leave. And like Takaya was willing to fight, but Jin was like, no, we gotta leave. So he is the voice of reason in Strega, which is a good thing. Let's talk about all of this. All right. He is not a right-hand man. He is literally, like he says, he respects Takaya. I won't call him a right-hand man completely, because throughout the game we have never seen Takaya go out and ask Jin for, like, go out and do some work and have Jin help him. Let me give you an example. Even Reload makes it worse in my opinion, because you have linked episodes with just Takaya, so it's like things happen and Takaya is there with you alone with the MC. But like Takaya goes to kill Shinji, right? It was like, sure, I think he did it because he wanted to make sure that Fuka doesn't sense them. But like, why didn't Takaya try to be like, hey Jin, go to the bridge or something, shoot out your persona, increase your power level, and like make yourself as bait and make them follow you while I go take care of this Shinji dude. Like, he doesn't do that. He just goes there and kills him. And there's a lot of things that like Takaya does alone where Jin isn't even part of. And here's the thing. What's this? Intellect. He is smart, but the problem is they don't utilize that. They make one thing is that he uses his intellect to, like, the whole Nyx thing, promote that because he has social media influence and stuff like that. But like, you're telling me he didn't use that to kind of make everyone go against C's or everyone go against the Kirija group? He didn't do that, which is like, hello? And it's not like Takaya and Jin had a moral compass where we have our limits. We're not gonna just use everything against you. Like, no, we're gonna settle this in the dark hour. No, they never had this moral compass. This isn't Maruki we're talking about. Maruki has a moral compass. They did not. So it's like a lot of things. The problem with Jin is he has a lot of things on paper that are really good, but they're never utilized. That's my major issue with him. The only thing it is, yeah, he is most level-headed. Izanami is a master manipulator of mythical proportion. Okay, I'm sorry. These two do not deserve to be higher. No. I think Tatsuya and Kamoshida is better. Shape-shifting characters are incredibly interesting, and this power has always been closely associated with villainy because it allows the antagonist to get away with actions as one being before becoming another entity entirely. This is only part of what makes Izanami such a good villain in P4, as they are also directly responsible for much of the game's conflict without being the main villain of the game. Yeah, but am I crazy? Is Yaldabaoth not a better Izanami? Just saying. Izanami is later revealed to be the creator of the Midnight Tunnel, which is the TV world, Midnight Channel, right? Which is the TV world that players explore throughout P4. This gives them close ties to Tohru Adachi, and Izanami puts the main conflicts of this entry into place. P4 is one of the most loved Atlas games ever created, and the game's narrative would not be as well-rounded as it is without this character lurking in the shadows. No! Everybody hates this guy! Because the game just acts like, here, have this. This is like such a out of, like, this is like such a how left, like this just happens. And nobody likes this, by the way. This is considered the worst final villain of Persona games, right? They just throw him out there. He's like, hey, have this. It's like, no. No. Alright, let's go. Oh, Shido is the cause of all Jokers. Yeah, wait. Isn't technically Shido also a better version of Izanami's technically? Because he's doing everything. Though he's not controlling everything that's happening. That's yelled about. Yeah. Persona 5 features one of the most bombastic introductions of any game ever created, as it shows the Phantom Thieves on one of their many heists as they run away from the police. Right after this, players are introduced to the game's protagonist, Joker. As he is giving an interview to Sainijima, it's not an interview, it's an interrogation. During this interview, it's an interrogation. Different things. During this interview, players are introduced to the game's main antagonist, Maya's... Wait, really? Oh, yeah, interrogation, yeah. I was like, what? Because he shows how he's just, like, got in custody and probation. Masayoshi Shido, a man who tries his hardest to ruin Joker's life. At the beginning of the game... Not really. Like, he does it at the start, but it's not like he's constantly... He's not like Aizen from Bleach. Like, everything is my plan. He's not Reverse Flash. At the beginning of the game, Shido frames Joker for a crime that he didn't commit, and it is up to Joker to fill in the pieces of his story in his interview with Sainijima to clear his name. Again, not an interview. They were not putting him like on spot like, hey, Mr. Joker. Eventually, this leads to Joker and the Phantom Thieves taking down Shido, but his malicious intent and personal backstory with the game's main character make him one of the most enjoyable antagonists in the series. Let me add more. Him? People don't talk about it. So Joker and Akechi are like two sides of the same coin, right? Technically, like they're like, sure, Yaldabaoth was controlling them and everything, but the main reason why both of them are like that, like Akechi and Joker, is also like the mediator to them is Shiro. They don't talk about that, which makes Shiro a really good villain. Oh, is Akechi or Naote? Oh, Kandori. This guy is like, yeah. Yeah, he is amazing. He's like really good in Eternal Punishment. In the grand scheme of the Persona franchise, the first entry is often forgotten by fans because the series has yet to hit its artistic stride and the turn-based gameplay did not yet differentiate itself from other competitors in the genre. However, the game's main antagonist, first games, right? Takahisa Kandori is among the best villains of the franchise has to offer, and his bitter personality makes him an intriguing character from start to finish. Throughout the game, players discover that Kandori is an egotistical nihilist as he becomes but is not content with his power and wants more out of life. This greed makes him a foil to the protagonists who try to stop him, and this contrast is especially appreciated in a game without the plot depth of many of the series' other entries. While Persona's first entry is not as popular as its successors, it is still an immensely enjoyable experience, and its main antagonist is among the best in the franchise. Okay, I'm a bit confused. They talk about him in P1, which I think is really good. He's decent. He's good. But like Kandori in Eternal Punishment is where I feel like he's amazing. So they talk about P1, but they don't talk about P2. And they took the image. This image is from Persona 2, so I don't know. Because his image... So in P1, he is being controlled by Nyarlathotep. You know what I mean, Nyarlathotep. But like, they don't... Like, in Eternal Punishment, they really... put that into like perspective. Like here's the thing, Kandori shouldn't be part of this world, and he understands that. He later does, and like that whole development is really good, but they don't talk about that here. I don't know. So are you telling me that the Tatsuya they're talking about here is from Innocent Sin, but they took the picture from Eternal Punishment? I don't know. I actually don't know. Oh, he's... Okay, now we're getting in the best ones. Okay. Nyarlathotep. He is really good. Throughout the Persona franchise, Atlus has often incorporated elements and characters from mythology and popular fiction to make the game's narratives more interesting. This is most common with the series villains, as a few of them take aspects from popular... Yeah, they do. Mythological and fantasy beings. The most relevant example to this in the series is the main antagonist from P2... Yeah, who is based... I can't speak his name. Who is based on the character with the same name from the works of... I do not know about this, so... I think I've heard of this, though. Is a unique ominous figure who lurks in the shadows for much of the game, and he is responsible for causing most of the conflicts throughout P2. His nefarious deeds... Sorry about that. His nefarious deeds include making Tatsuya hear a wide variety of disturbing voices to make him work for the mysterious figure. Overall... is an underrated Persona protagonist, and he deserves more time in the spotlight because of his intriguing character design. Yeah, they don't really... I guess they want to make it quick, but they don't really talk about a lot of this stuff. And I saw Takaya. Why the hell is he here? It really high. They don't really talk much about this because they don't really touch Eternal Punishment here. Same with here, they don't touch Eternal Punishment, even though they're using the same pictures. And here, I feel like they could have had a lot more. This is like a this should be like a 5 to 7 paragraphs worth. Oh, no. No. Not him. He's not worth... He's not in... He should not be with these guys. This... Bro is lost. Making a cult leader the main villain of a game can be a difficult thing to do effectively. Occasionally, developers will get caught up in making them trying to be cool characters without interesting motivations or character development. Yeah, okay. However, Atlus avoided this trope and traded Takaya, who is one of the most entertaining villains in the Persona franchise. Yeah, he's also dumb. The card thing should not be... Like, I guess it makes him more evil, but like, come on. Takaya Sakaki is the leader of Strega, a cult-like group of Persona users that function as the secondary antagonist. It's not even cult-like. At the end of the day, it is cult. He's the most intriguing character of the 3 members and is... No, it's Shidori. Shidori is the most intriguing out of all the Stregas. It's not Takaya. Of the 3 members, and his monologue give him excellent character development throughout the game. I guess linked episodes do make him better, but he's not top 3. Takaya could have easily been a shallow villain, but he is interesting. But his interesting, I can't wait. Oh, it's a spelling error. I was like, what? But his interesting motivation make him one of the most endearing person antagonists. No, this guy shouldn't be this high. Like with Kandori, Shido. I guess he is better than Izanami, but I think Izanami shouldn't even be here. I mean, yeah, he should. Oh, Izanami is a she, sorry, but like Jin shouldn't even be here. He's not higher than Tatsuya. No, not even higher than Kamoshida. I'm sorry. No, I disagree with this. Oh, Akechi plays both sides with a nefarious plan. Okay, here's the thing. I love Akechi, but villain Akechi I think is too high. Because okay, twist villains can often come off as cliche when they aren't written well. These characters are occasionally too campy, and they can take away from the narrative when their motivations are too obvious. However, P5 doesn't fall into this trap. No, it's obvious Akechi's the villain. What? As it manages to create one of the most endearing twist villains in gaming history by making the character have time to interact with the hero before they turn into a villain. I mean, that's in Royal, though. Goro Akechi is a masterful and it's optional. It's also optional. I mean, yeah, you get the true ending, but it's still optional. Goro Akechi is a masterful detective, and he's involved in trying to solve the Phantom Thief's case. He's often at odds with them, and he sees their actions as inhumane, but he teams up with them to further his goals. While he is a... yeah, I know what this means, can't. At heart, Goro Akechi is far better as a villain than he is a hero. No, I think he's a good hero. Because, I'll talk about that, and these complex motives makes him one of the best antagonists in the franchise. No, I think he's a great hero. Because the thing with Persona protagonists is, Persona characters is, they're too goody two-shoes. They're like, oh, this character had this sad of a backstory, and then they'll have conflicts. But Akechi's there like, aw, he had one bad day. Now, let's pack up our bags and leave. Like, that's what he does in Maruki's palace. It's like, they watch him on the TV, and Kasumi's like, oh, I get it. I understand him. And like, Akechi's like, okay, you know what? Let's just pack our bags. Let's leave. Let Maruki do whatever the hell he wants. And they're like, oh, no, we're still stopping him. Like, he's a good villain. Oh, yeah, wait, I just realized, where the hell is Nyx? Nyx is not here. Okay, yeah, I think Adachi is the best Persona villain, by the way. I do agree with this. At first glance, I still am thinking on this, but he is up there. At first glance, Adachi does not look like a villain at all. He appears to be young and innocent, and his job as a detective is supposed to make players trust him throughout the story. However, when he begins talking about his past and his desire to be in the world that is far away from reality, these cracks in his facade begin to show, and he turns out to be the most entertaining protagonist that the Persona franchise has ever introduced. I do agree. He's pretty fun. Him and Akechi are really fun. I saw on Twitter that they make Arena and then these two guys meet each other and just hate each other. That'd be fun, yeah. Throughout the game, players uncover that Adachi has become delusional with life, and he wants to spend some more time in the TV world instead of being stuck in a mundane job with a boss who hates him. This displeasure leads to him becoming a murderer, and he loses his sense of self as he spends more time away from reality. Overall, P4 features an incredibly complex narrative, and Adachi's role as the series' most entertaining protagonist makes the story of the game even better. I do disagree with one thing. Dojima doesn't hate him. Even Adachi understands that Dojima doesn't hate him. Because when you complete his social link, he talks about how his time spent with Dojima, Nanako, and the protagonist were the best times of his life. Something like that, or the most entertaining. So, this guy hates everyone. Literally everyone. But respects Narukami, Dojima, and Nanako. And that's one thing, because it's saying who hates him, it's not even like true, and it's not even like Adachi feels that way. So, okay, let's talk about this list, because there are a lot of issues. First of all, we don't have Nyx here, which I think if Izanami is here, Nyx should be here. Kamoshida, I think, yeah, he should be here. Maruki isn't even here. When was this list made? Maruki is not here? Oh no, this list is awful. No, because I think I would actually remove Jin. I would remove Izanami. I would put Takaya at 10 probably. I would remove Jin and Izanami. Uh, I would remove Akechi as well. He's Akechi. There's no hate for this guy. I love him, but his villain side, I think, compared to other villains, he could have been better. Oh, honestly, he could be. Honestly, yeah. He could be 9 or like 8 here, in my opinion. Like, I'll put Takaya at 10. Kamoshida is 9. This is just me thinking like quickly. Takaya 10, Kamoshida 9, 8 Akechi, and then like probably keep all of this same. Remove Jin, remove Izanami, Shido, yeah, and then keep this, and then at the top we'll like have I'll have like okay, I'll put Kandori a bit higher, 5 or 6. No, 5 is Nyx, and then top 3 would be like Nyarlathotep, Adachi, and Maruki. Like that would be my whole list, but I'll like do that. Jin and Izanami do not deserve here. Well, my Randigas, hope you enjoyed this video. This got a bit longer, I guess, but like, comment, subscribe. Comment your favorite villains, I guess, from Persona, or maybe just the ones you have played, the games you have played. But tell me in the comments below, what do you think about the list? What was the most absurd one here? Tell me that in the comments below. I'm looking here to stop recording. Consider subscribing. I'm trying to make this YouTube thing an actual thing. Bye.